Roman Reigns returned at SummerSlam 2020 and shook the wrestling world by turning heel and aligning himself with Paul Heyman. A week later, at WWE Payback, he pinned Braun Strowman to regain the Universal Championship that he never lost. Paul Heyman declared that Roman Reigns would have the most dominant title reign in the history of the business and that the next contender would be nothing more than a sacrificial lamb. An injury angle opened up a slot in a fatal four-way for the next title shot, and the door opened for Roman's cousin, Jey Uso. Jey emerged victorious, and the stage was set for the first major angle in the Bloodline story. Today, we're going to take you through the main event of Clash of Champions 2020. Let's rewind the Bloodline. If you are brand new to hear what we're doing, we are rewinding the Bloodline. So this is episode 4. Make sure you go back and see the rest of the episodes. They are linked in the description below. We have a playlist running so you can go back and see early 2020 with Roman. And we're going to caught up here where we're at with Clash of Champions 2020. And make sure you drop a like and subscribe. That's the best way to support the channel. We are only about a month of real time into this story, and there is so much to unpack. What are your thoughts where we are at this point right now?
I'm going to channel my inner Jesse Spano. I'm so excited. Like, this is so good, man. I can't believe that in the rewatch that we've done in about 6 weeks of real time from them, how much we've covered and how good it all is. And here's the other thing. The WWE sucks. Like 2020 WWE isn't good. Yeah. And there's a reason why they were a creative second banana to AEW, and why AEW was gaining the groundswell that it did is because overall creatively WWE wasn't it. However, going back and rewatching just these Bloodline segments and seeing the seeds being sown that come to bear in months or years after, this is great stuff, man. And not only that, the matches are good, and I'm talking television matches. The segments, promos are excellent. I can't wait to keep going. What do you got to say, man?
I think the thing that is most striking to me is the promos that we're getting, the high level of detail that they're providing us within all of these promos. When they happened in real time, they didn't dawn on me as like being so important, but like as time has gone and you're going back to them and seeing them, it's like, wow, there is like such masterful level of detail that they've put into these things. Even if you don't even know what happens, to the casual fan, what they're telling you and explaining to you and laying out for you, it all meant something in it, and it's just so finely crafted that it's mind-blowing to see it with 2024 eyes.
And it's why they've made their comeback to where they are now.
Yes. But we left off with episode 3 saying that we were going to do WWE Chronicle and we were going to do Clash of Champions 2020. Before we get to Clash of Champions, we are going to cover Chronicle, and it is on Peacock. So you can go to Peacock if you just search WWE Chronicle, but it is in there. It just follows Jey Uso for, I believe it follows him for 2 weeks. So everything that we've been covering here on the channel, they are actually covering him behind the scenes, following him and filming him. And I just thought that this was such a look into Jey Uso, and it was a way that, like what you said in the last episode, it took him from mid-card to main event, and it did such a good job of showing you that the Usos were just more than tag team guys, and it truly elevated him with not only the promos and the storyline that is going on, it like actively on the show, but behind the scenes and with this documentary really elevated him. It was the catapult for Jey.
Yeah, the really important thing here was them showing these guys, and these guys being the Usos and Roman, they gave you real backstory
Yes.
with how they came up together. The triple threat stuff, where Jey says, my mom used to go to the store and get 2 for $3 t-shirts at Walmart and spray paint triple threat on the back. So it was me, John, and Joe all being together, and they literally played football together. They would say they would go to the games, have their blue and orange, all this stuff. And they were showing these guys playing all sorts of games and little things as little kids. Jey talked about playing hide and seek, like everybody always trying to be the best. And the really cool thing with that is we layered in with Jay's wife. They say, what's day one? And he says, well, day one's her.
Yeah.
And you think it's a throwaway line. And then when Jey tells us that, like, oh, Umaga came to me one day and said, you're going to get in the car or this isn't going to happen. And they already had a little one. And brother, I don't know if the bigger MVP of Down to Ride wife goes to Jay's wife or Kyle Peterson's, but it's insane, the belief and the commitment that you need to be able to say, yeah, go ahead and go for it. And I thought that all that stuff was excellent, man.
Yeah, small shout out here to Kyle Peterson. We love you. We love your figure room tour. It was incredible. Like, I can't imagine that feeling of like, I'm leaving my life behind to go do this, but I'm doing it with Umaga and I'm doing it with my family. Like that, I can't imagine what that would feel like.
Right. And the craziest part of the story is it's not his dad.
Yeah.
And his dad is very over and in the Fed and everything else. I like that. To me, that was the craziest part. And we move on. And when he then asks, and I thought that the most adorable thing, dude, I made baby Mongoose watch it. When he says to his little son, he goes, who's going to win? And his son goes,
Uncle Uwa.
Uncle Uwa, get it?
and I was like, of course you'd pick Uncle Ooh-ah, like you're a little kid, right? But I just thought that was so adorable. Like all those little layers, dude, this was such an excellent setup. And put over huge, now we know, and I don't mean this in a disparaging way, but now we know why Tamina was on the roster for all those years.
Yeah.
Tamina obviously mattered a lot backstage.
She did, yes. You could really see that in that one clip. That's really interesting that you mentioned Jay's son, because I'm pretty sure that's the son that we see now on television with him. So it's really cool that you see he wanted Uncle Ooh-ah to win, and now he's literally showing up to like Raw and all these shows with him now. Like, it's really cool to see.
Yeah, made a believer out of number one, man. That's how you do it.
So, yes. So if you have not checked out WWE Chronicle, it is on Peacock. Just search it. You'll find it very easily. It's the Jey Uso episode.
It's such a motivator, man. It really is. And the other thing is, it's just a great, genuine, here we go kind of story. It is like that could be applied to football, basketball, baseball. Like, really is a great underdog story. It's awesome.
And that leads us right into our main event, Clash of Champions 2020.
Yeah, the intro to this show is awesome. So we get a video narrated by John Cena to set the tone.
So this is it.
Which I was not expecting.
No.
So Cole and Graves put over the Jey Chronicle after the ladder match of this show. And again, if you have not ever or haven't seen it in a while, check this one out. Absolutely worth it. The pre-match video package to this match is excellent. Yes. So we get the Heyman voiceover from SmackDown, which is the exact right choice. We then cut into Jey doing the sit-down interview for the hype here, and he gives us the, guess what?
I want to be a big dog too.
Mongoose bumps settling in here, brother. The package is great. Jey's sit-down, the family footage, Roman's terror is spliced into this. Like, all of this stuff is A1.
So Jey comes out first, and he's wearing his own family lei, and Roman walks out with no shirt, looks incredible, and the announcers are putting over how good of shape he's in. Both men circle at the bell. Jey is barking to psych himself up, and this is awesome. Drops a yeet, and we lock it up for the first time. And I just need to say this like one more time of like how good Roman looked here. Like this was the star he was always supposed to be here.
Oh yeah. Not only that, we get a little bit of Jey with the yeet on that lockup. I was not ready for that, and seeing that, like it warmed me up, man. I thought this was great. It stays intense with the whole fill out pace, and that's really a hard thing to accomplish. To have, even whenever they're doing the lockup, backup, lock, it was intense the entire time. And then Roman smashes Jey with a lariat, and then he immediately starts trash talking. He's like, I told him, should have just listened to the tribal chief, to the head of the table. And Roman starts choking Jey out with the rope for a 4 count. And then he hits a right hand, and it sounded like a whip crack.
Oh, yes. Oh, it cracked so loud. So Jey is very overmatched, and he is just selling so great here. And every time he tries to fire up, Roman cuts him off and beats on him more. Roman turning around and telling Lil Nate, whatever I want. It popped me huge.
Right. So Jey fires up. He hits a Samoan drop. He gets a 2 count. Jay's in the corner. He takes off for a hip attack. And Roman hits Jey with the Superman punch that, dude, when he hit it, I would have been surprised if Jey shattered into 1,000 pieces. It was such a good spot, man.
The psychology here is awesome. Roman is so cool, and Jey is just trying to keep the passion, but it's just not enough.
Yeah, and you know what? I do remember the first time I saw this match, it was at the end of a show that had what felt like a 50-minute ambulance match, spooky Alexa Bliss, like all this stuff. And Roman walking around talking. This was a 2020 WWE problem.
Yeah.
This was not a this match problem, because these guys are excellent. If you watch this match as a standalone match and not this entire show, this is poetry, man. You watch this at the end of, again, 50-minute ambulance match, spooky Alexa, Asuka fought Selena Vega. Like, there's a lot of, what are we doing? This stuff is great.
Yes, it is really great. When you just pull it under the microscope, it is really, really good. So Jey fires up one more time. He's rocky in this story, and I love it. Roman gets the shoulders shoved into the post, and he just is so furious about it. And Jey hits another dive to the outside. They come back in. Jey hits an enziguri on Roman, and Jey hits another dive to the outside. They're back in the ring. Jey hits an Uso splash onto Roman, and he only gets a 2 count. The super kick to a kneeling Roman for a 2 count. Like, it was all that Jey had, and it wasn't enough.
I love that you said that, because this is literally the heart, right? That was the whole Rocky story, is all about heart. I'm outmatched every single time. This guy's faster than me. This guy's stronger than me. This guy's whatever. And this is what we had, brother. This was literal hearts on fire passion. This is great stuff. But all this is going on, and Heyman is selling on the outside, and it is tremendous. It is like he managed to turn himself a shade of gray during Jay's comeback. Do you know what I mean? Like, he sold it so good. So then Roman hits what Corey Graves called a vertical running leg drop, and there's a woman standing on hard cam just dying at this move because it is so ridiculous. And brother, I love it. So Jey ducks a spear, and then he rolls Roman up for a 2 count.
So Jey hits a super kick, and Cole gives it a, do you believe in miracles?
That's a great call. That's a great call.
It is a great call. So Jey climbs to the top. He hits the Uso splash, and Roman kicks out at 2.9999, and he does it with a low blow to Jey. This was brilliant.
It was, and especially because as a viewer, you don't catch it right away.
Yes.
But now Jey can't move.
Right.
And then they show the replay, and you see the opposite hand come up, not the far shoulder, the opposite one and Roman's been hitting the D punches since he's come back. He is no shame in his game when it comes to junk kunk. I need to say, I don't mind there not being crowd noise and them like piping it in. I don't mind. I actually think that it adds to matches, but here's where they piped in, "This is awesome." And while I'm looking at a couple of like 100 muted screens, whatever that is, here was the first time that it felt hokey. Yeah. That's my only real complaint here is we didn't need "This is awesome" because I can just see people on screens going, yeah. Right.
So Roman hits a spear, smack talking Jey to acknowledge him. Jey won't. Roman throws Jey into the ropes and gets another spear.
Yeah, dude. Roman grabs Jey by the face and Roman starts listing off all of his titles like he's Khaleesi or The Miz. I guess either one, right? So he wants Jey to repeat these titles into the camera and Jey says, "Not today." So Heyman's just standing outside. This is the best part. Heyman is screaming all of the adulations that Roman wants Jey to say.
"You are my tribal chief and the Universal Champion."
So Roman wants Jey to say, Heyman pulling that role that we said previously, where he was the basically indebted servitude. He's outside saying all the words that Roman wants to hear, but Roman says that Heyman's words aren't good enough.
I need him to acknowledge me. That is how this works.
So then Roman just buries Charles Robinson here.
You understand me? Don't ever make me address him again.
It's right after the spot, right around the time that he gave to Charles, that I think we went about 4 minutes too long. Like, it's great. The action's good. Story's better. But I do feel like it started to drag just a little bit here.
Yeah. So Jimmy Uso limps out, and remember, he blew out his knee, so he's completely out of action. And that's how we get Jey into the position in first place.
Yeah, my question here is that now that Jimmy's out, who's watching Rikishi? Who has Rikishi's phone? Who's going to make sure that these Uso boys still have a job on Monday?
Oh, geez. So good. So Jimmy, he has a towel. Jey tells him not to throw it in, and Jimmy throws in the towel, jumps in, and he's crying over Jey.
And dude, this is an incredible finish. Yeah. I seriously think if this spot happened 2 to 3 minutes earlier, because we skipped over a lot of Roman walking around and just yelling at Jey, that if this happened 2 to 3 minutes earlier, this is a 4.5, like a 4 3/4 star match. Yeah. Like really, like to me, this is easy 4+, but I think this is borderline 5. And for it being a storyline match, that's insane.
Yes, you're right about that. I think it was just a smidge too long. There is a lot of pacing around by Roman here. But Jimmy tells Roman,
"You the chief, man."
And he holds his beaten brother as Paul adorns Roman with the Ulafala. And wow, this was just so much better than I remember it being when I watched it the first time.
You're right about that, dude. You are. And you know this is good when it got high praise from the Observer in 2020. So Dave Meltzer wrote, quote, "Roman Reigns came across as both the star of the show and of the promotion in his new heel role, beating Jey Uso in maybe the best pure storytelling match on the WWE main roster this year," end quote. Dave gave this match 4.25 stars. John, what do you rate it?
I think that is very fair. 4.5. I think I'll give it 4. I'll give it 4.5 because this was one of the best WWE matches I think I had seen at the time. And just watching it back, it was even better with the hindsight and just watching the lead up and all of the run through. When you have the full context of Chronicle and all of that is, whew, so wow. It is excellent. 4.5 stars for me.
I co-sign 4.5. I think he is a 1/4 star too low. I do understand why though, because it did drag at the end.
Yeah.
That being said, it dragging at the end, kind of sets the table for what we're going to see over the next 3 years. And I ain't mad at it because there's going to be matches we review and I say, God, dude, why didn't this end 7 minutes earlier? Yes. It's all so good though, man. It really is. And so, yeah, 4.5 for you, fair for me. This is must watch television, people. If you have not seen it in a minute, go back and rewatch.
Yes, please go back and watch. Also, if you are new to the channel and this is your first episode, go back and watch the previous 3 episodes that we've done. This is a running playlist. We are telling you the entire Bloodline story from start until whenever it ends. We are going to be taking little baby steps here and giving you the full story. We found a lot of nuggets that we've not previously seen that may even tie to something that we are going to see today now. So this is all just really excellent work here. In the next episode, we are going to be taking you to the fallout of Clash of the Champions, and we're going to be working our way to Hell in a Cell 2020, and that is a really big one here for the story. I can't wait to get to that one. So, I'm Johnny Bake Show.
I'm Teddy Mongoose.
And we just called it in the ring.